Welcome back to Texas Truck Channel. I'm Brian. Okay. And here's Craig. And here's his spirit animal from Toyota, the freaking Land Cruiser. We've been waiting for this truck for a while, and we've actually driven this very vehicle once before. We had it on camera with our Tacoma at the Auto Roundup earlier this year. He was driving it. It was his personal car that day, and we stole it from him. It was very kind. Thanks, Greg. But now it's in the fleet, and now we get to check it out. Let's get with them and running, Craig. This is what people are going to want to know. How much is the Land Cruiser? $76,825, including destination and delivery. There are two options: two-tone roof for $350, which I would absolutely spend $350 on, and all-weather cargo mat at $130. Because it's first edition, you get everything else included in that number. The feds say it gets 23 miles a gallon, 22 city, 25 highway. So all that covered, it's gonna put it out there. That's a lot of freaking money. It's a ton, especially when the 4Runner TRD off-road will be available for what, Craig, 45?
45 is the price is the same as the current model.
It's a lot more for something that's built on the exact same platform. So for those that don't realize, the tnga-f is a modular platform from Toyota that is now everything that is truck-based. Tacoma, Tundra, Sequoia, Land Cruiser, 4Runner, LX 600, or GX 550. They're all the same. Mechanically, I mean, the hard points are the same. So it's either longer or shorter, and then the body is either wider or narrower. So just know that. So you're gonna get a lot of similarities, and we've owned a Tacoma, as you probably know. The vibes here are very similar, but somehow there's some charm that I can't put a number on that even I am a little bit enamored by. So that's the cool thing about Land Cruiser. So let's get into iconic nose first of all. First edition, we get the round headlight. You can get a rectangle or round headlight. I don't know about you, Craig, I'm team round headlight. What are you?
Oh, team round headlight.
It's gotta be round.
Yeah.
Gotta be round. You also get the rigid lights, which are amber. Are these switchbacks, Craig? Do they do amber?
They amber or, yeah, white.
That's nice. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. And then you just get a good blocky design. You can tell the journalists before us had some fun, did some dirt work with it. So we're not the only ones having fun with this. That's really good. Wheel and tire. Toyota says you have to run 18s on this, Craig. And why is that?
Because it's got a big front rotor because of the hybrid.
Exactly. They've told us that every hybrid has to be a 18-inch wheel. So what we did is we put a 17 on it, Craig, and it fit beautifully with room to spare. Both a Steely off a 5th gen 4Runner, their spare tire from that, zero clearance problems at all, and also the factory 17-inch wheel off of our TRD off-road Tacoma. Zero clearance problems at all. So if you're wondering, can I get some wheels in here that are not 18s, get more beefy sidewall? Yes, you can. That's the answer. Come on down, you get this cool mud flap, Craig.
This is the best mud flap ever.
Ever. It's like actually just a flap, which I love. So if you go over an obstacle, it'll flex and go over. And it has this little strap, so if you go backwards over something, it will not run into the tire and flip up, because if you go down an obstacle, that can happen. They thought it all through, and I think it's just cool they left that exposed. I love it. Rock rails. This is part of the first edition packaging. These are so cool. And they're actually rock rails. They're not steps. There's no like step for your foot. It's not intended. It's just to protect the body. I like that. Our Tacoma came with the Predator side steps, which were awful. This is what it needed the whole time. Turns out Toyota can do it right. We knew it. Roof rack, also part of the first edition. All this is missing is whatever tint you want. It's good to go. It's already set up for it and ready to go. I love the look from that too. Fuel doors, and it is a cap, but it does have a holder. So, okay, premium unleaded fuel only, no diesel. That does not say recommended, it says only. And I'm here to tell you, that's not correct.
Well, and it's very interesting because the Limited we just had did not require that.
Exactly. And did you put premium in here?
I did.
Oh, you did? I'll tell you now, when we got it, I don't think it had it in there. So I'm here to tell you, I don't believe that. You know, what's the real answer from Toyota? We haven't heard back. We need to check with them again. We'll try and find out for you. Coming around the back, spoiler, I like it. Wiper, it works. Big blocky lettering, Land Cruiser. And down here, Craig, you'll see the only indication visually that it's hybrid. iForce Max powertrain. That's the only powertrain you can get with this, which means you have a battery in here and a sandwich style hybrid powertrain. But I'll tell you, Craig, one of my favorite parts of this truck is it's hybrid and doesn't want you to know about it. If you get the Limited or any iForce Max Tacoma, there's badging on the hood, there's badging under here, the cluster actually has dials to show you the power output of the hybrid system. This doesn't want you to know it's hybrid, it just wants you to know it's a Land Cruiser, and that's it, and I kind of appreciate that. Coming on down, you've got a cover for the hitch. I don't think we need to pull that off, but there is a hitch. You can tow how much with this, Greg?
6,000 pounds.
That's pretty formidable, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
And this is coil sprung 5-link rear, just like our TRD off-road. There is no air ride or height adaptable stuff going on. Down below we have exhaust. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, up front, Craig, that sounded kind of like the Limited. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I went from normal mode to sport mode, and it gave me more RPM. It gave me another 1,000 RPM to rev it to in neutral. That sounded cool inside. What about out here?
Sound like a pretty cool four popper.
Okay, I'll take it. Let's see what that thing is up front. Popping up front to the business end of things, let's get this hood open. It is, of course, not dampened, but it isn't that heavy. You have a single hood spot instead of a dual like the Tacoma does, but it is high enough. I appreciate that. Check this thing out. You know what this does?
Makes it not sound like a diesel.
It does a world of help for this motor, and it makes it sound really refined, which this is such a cheap part. Just put it on all of them because your four-banger sounds real thrashy without it. Coming on down, you see a bunch of orange cables because iForce Max, good for 326 horsepower, 465 theoretical foot-pounds of torque. I say that because in the last one we drove, we didn't believe that number because we never got that number on the butt dyno. This feels a little better to me, but there's more weight in the truck. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what 0 to 60 says later in this episode. Let's check out the interior with Craig.
Hello?
Hello, is Greg Rupe there?
No, it's Craig.
Oh, this is Craig. Sorry, it's Craig. Yes, I was calling you about your extended warranty on your Prius. It is about to expire and it will explode if you do not. Hello? Hello?
I don't know about you, but who needs an extended warranty? It's a Prius, it's a Toyota, it's fine. So more importantly, I'm tired of getting all these phone calls. Your information's out there, boys and girls, and y'all already know it. AT&T just had a 73 million data breach. And if you have today's sponsor, Aura, you don't have to worry about that. You just put it on your phone. You have one app. You don't have to worry about using different virus softwares and all these different things. They stop all that. You don't have to worry about it from spammers, data breaches, from all those things, all these calls you're getting, because you want to get back to doing things like the slalom. You're trying to set good times on your bike, and people keep interrupting you. So let's stop that today. Let's use today's sponsor. Go to r.com/Texas Truck, and you can get a 14-day free trial and join me in getting a little more peace of mind so you don't have to worry about this. Oh, here we go. It is time to get into the Land Cruiser. Toyota has listened. They have brought it back. You'll notice it looks a lot like a GX460, a lot of things, because it's based on the Prado platform. Overseas, this is actually the Land Cruiser Prado or 250 series. We do not get the 300 series, but at least we get this. Let's get into it, Brian, which means we get a split tailgate. Like that a lot. I can hit the button and get in here and reach my stuff. Very nice. Somebody pointed out on another channel that because this button's not here with the wiper like in other models, when this does go out because of rain and stuff, this is expensive to replace the whole assembly. This is set aside, a little easier to replace down the road. So we do have a power lift gate, 1958 model. You don't get that, but you do get that in this one. And you get plenty of room here. There's actually quite a bit of room. Very interesting higher floor. Brian, why? You know why it's so high? I know you know why. Go ahead and tell the people.
It's a freaking battery down there, dude.
And look, I'm just gonna say the whole episode, we're gonna say this a lot. That's the biggest difference with the US version. I'm glad we got the US spec. Thank you, Toyota, for giving us this. But US specific is the hybrid powertrain. There's a lot of pitfalls because of that. One of the things is we got a higher floor here. Now you would think, Brian, look, I'm gonna fold the seat down because Brian, we were hoping in the GX550, maybe the hybrid, because the higher floor, it'll be flat. And you'll find out it is still not flat. Well, that's just lazy engineering. That's what that is. I don't know what to say. I mean, the Honda Passport we had just the other day.
Honda Passport.
Completely flat.
CX-70, old Land Rovers.
Flat.
And the reason we bring that up is not everyone wants to spend several $1,000s on a decking system for if you want to sleep inside it for overlanding. Also, on a decking system, you lose ceiling height. I'm a tall guy. I'm sleeping here. I want as much as I can.
Everybody knows what people do with Land Cruisers. They go overlanding. Right. You need a flat floor. Now you have to get some sort of platform, which is fine. It's always, there's a workaround. Don't get me wrong. You can get around it. But I want to show you some other things. I'm going to get this $130 option out. And I want to show you some of the storage. You do get some storage down here for maybe toe straps or whatever. Who knows? Then you get a little more storage up here. Get the first aid kit off, and a little more storage up there with your jack and your little.
It's not totally nice. Yeah,
that's not terrible. Yeah. It's not the worst because I found something out. When you pull this seat back up, we were watching some fireworks the other night, and it's actually a good little spot. And because it's designed for overseas markets, Brian,
I didn't see that.
The reason we get handles back here, we get vents back here, we get cup holders back here, we actually get charging ports back here.
What is going on?
The overseas markets, you get a third row here because it's not a hybrid battery that lifts the floor. The best part, Brian, show them that thing you do get with the U.S. market, and only in the U.S. market, 2,400 freaking watts. That means you can actually power a lot of things. And that actually is a big benefit, not gonna lie. Let's move to the second row.
Hey, you wanna get your option?
Oh, no, not really. All right, Brian, let's check out the second row. First, I'll start with the door. I'll always start there. Oh, nice and padded. That's what I'm talking about. Even in the second row, and you get a nice door pull that doesn't get passed through, so you can actually put a phone there. That is very convenient. And then two big bottle holders that can hold real bottles. Brian, I want to show something to the people in the back. Let's pull a little lever on the back. You can flip it forward so you can get to the third row that doesn't exist. But you also notice, do you see a little vent on your side over there? That is cooling for the hybrid battery. In fact, it's in the owner's menu. You actually need to maintain that and keep that cleaned out so that it doesn't get clogged. You need to keep your battery cool. And then this is also how you would access your storage. So there's that. It does not slide forward or aft. Do wish it did that, but you can tilt it, and that's pretty nice. Compared to the 4Runner, there's a lot of room in here, Brian. We do get tri-zone climate control, so you get that back here. You get USB-C, USB-C, and you get the traditional 12-volt because there's still things you need to power with a 12-volt plug. That's just the fact. Nice mat pockets back here. Ooh, what happened here?
Well, I think what happened here is this sunroof happened here. Because I've sat in the
1958
edition and has gobs of headroom.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And in the front row, I've got gobs of headroom in this one. This is okay, but if I don't have it reclined enough, you have like gear, I'm gonna be an issue.
So we were interested to test this because yes, you're correct. The 1958 edition, this is not here and it stays this high all the way forward. All right, Brian, before we go to the front, I want to point out something because this is really important and this is very Land Cruiser specific. Grab handle, grab handle, grab handle, grab handle. There are 8 grab handles for 4 seats. Oh no, yeah. There's 10 grab handles. Yeah. So they know what you're going to be doing in this thing, off-roading and be moving around. You need to hold on to something.
I will say, in our Tacoma, we had 1 of these.
1.
We needed 4 of them.
All right, Brian, to the front. Let's start with the door. And yeah, of course it's going to be padded if it's padded in the back. A nice door pull that doesn't pass through so your phone doesn't fall through. Love that. Auto up, auto down, power windows. And then you get a nice big bottle holder, which is very convenient to put storage in. The payload is, believe it or not as much as you would think, because that's one of the things that's kind of a Land Cruiser attribute. Is usually pretty high. Only 1,100 pounds, a little bit on the lower side. It's not nothing. I mean, that is actually not bad. It's over 1,000, but we kind of want to see closer to that 1,500 mark. And this is where it gets a little frustrating again in the overseas markets, because the 7-passenger models, 5-passenger models without the hybrid battery, that number increases a lot. It gets closer to 1,500, which is, I wish we had that here. But let's get in and let's check this out because this is the best part of this truck. You got banana holders right here. You got coffee holders right here. Wireless Qi charging, which is really nice. Let's start it up and show the people. Look at these. Oh, wait a minute. Are we in a Tacoma? Are we in a 4Runner? What are we in?
They're in Tundra.
Oh my gosh, we're Tundra. Oh no, we're actually in a Land Cruiser, and actually we're making fun of it a little bit, but this is actually a really good gauge cluster.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very high quality.
We've been in some other brands of late. And this is way better. There's a lot of configurability here, and you can just put the dials the way you want or preference, and that's so convenient. You can configure where you want the tripometer to reset and all those things. I know a lot of cars do that, but Toyota did it right here.
They did a good job at it.
I want to point out the center display here. This is the bigger one in the 1958 model. You get a smaller, like 8-inch screen, which I think I would prefer because the volume knob is now put in an almost looks like an afterthought. It's kind of.
It's the same cheap knob our base one had in the Tacoma.
Yeah, but in the smaller display, it just goes over here and it's integrated in a black panel, which I don't know, it doesn't matter to me. This works. The best thing about the interior, Brian, is all the buttons. Toyota continues to give you hard keys for all the HVAC controls, and that is so handy. They're not buried in any menus in here. Love that a lot. And a little detail I want to point out is this little like bronze, kind of like we got in the Tacoma. I love how they've integrated it, at least in this first edition model. Yeah, around the steering wheel, it's around the shifter. It's actually in the vent, the actual vent trim right here. And then actually in this little, looks like rope or,
it's like a
paracord. Like paracord. It looks really good. I like that a lot. And then it's integrated into the seat, which is a very comfortable seat, Brian. Yes, so comfortable, in fact, that look at this. It extends. I like that a lot. That's a feature you don't see in a lot of vehicles. In fact, the overseas Land Cruiser doesn't get that. It's a U.S. specific thing we get. I like that a lot.
It's a very good seat, by the way.
All right, let's show the goodies over here, Brian. We get a lot of things. We get a center diff lock, which is a Torsen limited slip. Like that a lot. You get that in the 1958 model. You also get this in the 1958 model, a rear locker, selectable rear locker. That is new to Land Cruiser. We haven't had that since 1999, 100 series, maybe 2000. People in the comments let me know.
Yeah.
But this is specific to the first edition and optional in 1958 edition. These disconnecting stabilizer bar, that is a big deal. Gone is KDSS, but we do get that instead. And of course, traction control, always turn that off. And then of course, we get the MTS, crawl control, off-road cruise control, and all the modes and all that fun stuff. You do get Eco, Sport, and Normal. Tow haul, little button buried way down here. So,
okay.
With that, Brian, let's put it in sport mode and send it. Alrighty, Brian, we're in the, allegedly the fastest Land Cruiser they make in the entire global market. Okay. Well, because it's the hybrid, you get the non-hybrid or the diesel, which is really slow. The diesel is 10 seconds, 0 to 60 in Europe.
Okay.
Let's see what the Hybrid Max does.
May not make a difference. We're going to find out. Sport mode, launch engaged. We got the hybrid boost and the turbo, 7.5 pounds of boost. That's all it's doing. Second gear. Now we're getting 15 pounds of boost, back to 12 and 60 miles an hour. Never saw full boost the whole time.
8.82 with me in the car. Now,
Okay.
Definitely quicker than the diesel in Europe. This is not supposed to be fast because it's what it is. It's a Land Cruiser. It's faster than my old Land Cruiser, which is really similar in
it's
size.
twice as fast as faster than your old Land Cruiser.
Bro,
Credit.
what did it get without me in the car?
8.18 is what it got.
That's kind of, I'm just going to say that's disappointing.
That's not acceptable. And look, I'm not going to play this whole, you're right, it is the fastest Land Cruiser we've seen. I don't know if the old V8 5.7 was faster than this. We didn't test one of those. But I'll tell you, 465 torque, that number is not how math works. That or it's saving itself so much you never, like we said in the limited Tacoma review, you are never seeing that number when you ask for it. You're never getting it.
Limited got 7.8. It makes sense this would be slower.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
it just verifies our issues with the Limited.
Well, and also verifies our issues with this hybrid Powertrain only in the Land Cruiser. Like, okay, well, we're getting this because we think Americans need faster things. Like, it's still not fast. So, like, give us the option of the non-hybrid or the diesel. Like, that would be nice to have the range. Because one of the biggest negatives we have, this US version, is because of the hybrid, we get the small fuel tank. We get 17-gallon tank, 17.9.
Which is silly.
Which gives our range of 300 miles.
For an overlander, not enough.
And all the other markets, overseas markets, 4-cylinder gas or the 4-cylinder diesel, you get a 29-gallon tank. If you have the gas version, that's 600 miles range, even without the hybrid.
Yeah.
In the diesel, that gets 32 miles a gallon. That's 900 mile range per fill-up.
Holy crap. Well, that's the one the overlanders want. All right, let's get that out of the way. Those complaints are done. iForce Max is still disappointing. The Limited, meaning the limited Tacoma review we did, we slammed it for its unrefinedness. This is a production model, not a pre-pro, and it shows. I think the calibration is way better. Now, it's still a hybrid powertrain. It still has those traits, but it doesn't have these goofy, rough edges. It gives me hope that the end user is going to like this a lot. That's what I'm saying. I think the person that buys this will be happy with it. Now, let's talk ride and drive, because this is where I get really excited. Coil spring, no air ride, has no business riding as good as this.
It rides great.
It rides amazing.
And that's that is kind of a Land Cruiser heritage trait. Like,
and it reminds me of our Tacoma TRD off-road. It rode amazing as well, unladen. My concern, we went Toyota Jamboree with our Tacoma with a little bit of gear, couple 100 pounds, not even half of what the payload availability was, and it was on the bump stops the entire time on trail. So I'm a little concerned that this will do that, but I could be totally wrong.
Well, to be fair, the GX 550 we were in, although it's got a little bit different suspension with the KDSS, that one had more payload, and we didn't ever have that problem even when we loaded it down. I don't know if the same thing would happen here. This one has less payload.
The big complaint I have with the GX 550 is resolved here. Huge deal. It makes me like this more than the GX 550 for me personally. Actually, I like this thing a lot. Just put it out there.
Look, looks-wise, interior and outside, this is way better than the GX 550, in my opinion.
And in terms of materials and fit and finish, it feels Lexus, not Toyota. So much nicer than the Tacomas to me. Console does not come up to the moon on here, and my knee is not annoyed at all. As much as I love the V6 and the GX 550 and how good that thing is, I would go with this route because of the console alone. I hate to say it, because it did annoy me the entire time I drove it. And this is quiet. It's a bread box. It's quiet. It's refined. It's well made. All of our hybrid annoyances aside, it's a good product.
This is pricey, this first edition. In this price range, you're up against the GX 550 Overtrail, which is maybe its best competitor. You're up against the Ineos Grenadier, start at that price, and you're up against the Land Rover Defender. Those are 4 unbelievably good options.
And you get front diff locks and some of that stuff, and you get live axle, like this does too, but yeah.
Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them. You need to put your butt in the seat of all of them, see what you're the most comfortable in.
This is up there with all of them, by the way.
This does seem overpriced, but it's up there with them. If you go down to the 1958 edition, let's talk about that real quick. $55,000. Now you're up against a Wrangler Rubicon, and you're up against Broncos, and you're up against 4Runner.
The biggest problem is the 4Runner. Except that this has a lot more packaging, a lot more storage. But the Wrangler Rubicon gives you front and rear diff lockers, and it's the ultimate off-roader in that group. And the Bronco doesn't have a top that you can have quietly on the highway. This does. So I would put this over the Bronco, and I love the Bronco.
All right, well, with that, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you saw our other video, you know why we need you to subscribe. If you haven't, go watch that video. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you would get out of all those options. And are you glad the Land Cruiser is back, even though it's a Prado? I am.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.